After losing her father, little girl revealed as hidden Millionaire's life-changing discovery. The small town of Maple Grove had always been a place where stories thrived, but none would stir the hearts of its citizens like the one surrounding Clara. At just 10 years old, Clara was grappling with her father's absence, his heroic presence now a whisper in the wind. She wandered home to a house that felt like an empty shell, where laughter had once ricocheted off the walls. Her mother's strained voice wrestling with Bill's echoed through the modest rooms. Each corner of their family farm reminded Clara of her father's warm smile, the stories he shared, his love of country, family, and hard work. Now, all that was left was a heavy silence that weighed on Clara's heart like a stone. With every passing day, the community came together, helping Clara's mother as bills piled up like autumn leaves. Neighbors dropped off fresh produce from their gardens, offering desperate glances that spoke of their own suffering. Yet in those little gestures was hope, a reminder of the bonds that held them tight like a family. Clara appreciated the kindness, but it only deepened her sorrow. Who would lift her family from this silent despair? One afternoon, racing away from her pain, Clara sought refuge in the barn. Dust danced in sunbeams as she found a forgotten corner. Shadows quivered as she nudged aside old hay bales, revealing a sturdy wooden chest. It whispered secrets of the past. Hard racing, Clara pried it open, and within lay letters dear, sweet letters filled with dreams that should belong to her father. And then, she found it. The news that turned her world upside down. Her father had a wealthy uncle whom Clara never knew existed. The hidden fortune within was staggering. Her fingers trembled as she read the words. She was thrust into a world where whispers at the local diner buzzed with speculation. How could this be? A simple family like hers, now touched by wealth? It felt foreign, a harsh contrast to the values her father upheld. The news swept through Maple Grove like wildfire, leaving Clara with a burden heavier than grief. Rumors painted her as a millionairess, but what did wealth mean? Clara longed for her father's humble legacy, rooted in hard work and love. Suddenly, an old habit took her by surprise. An application arrived for a scholarship to a prestigious private school. The chance for a brighter future dangled in front of her like a neon sign. But leaving her mother, her home, and the community that had cradled her felt like betraying her father's spirit. Before we continue, I need to let you know about something important that's happening. YouTube has been making changes to the system and many people are losing notifications from channels they follow. If you're enjoying the content, hit that bell and mark all notifications so you don't miss the next videos. And if you can drop a like, it really helps me with reach. Seriously, it makes a difference. Oh, let me know in the comments where you're watching from. I'm always curious to know who's on the other side of the screen. Now let's continue. Clara's heart raced with uncertainty. As rumors thickened, judgment filled the air. Would her new riches define her? Or would they drown her father's treasured values? Standing at the emotional crossroads, Clara saw the community that had raised her. Their love was pure, unsullied by wealth. And so, the town hall meeting approached, a tempest brewing in whispers of discontent and anticipation. Clara could feel it, the collective gaze of a community weighing heavy on her shoulders. Would she seize this moment to redefine success? Or would the pressures of wealth silence her voice? In that charged atmosphere, Clara knew one thing: she had a decision to make, one that would shape her destiny and honor her father's legacy. The choice loomed before her like the chest hiding untold stories, a story still waiting to unfold. The town hall was packed. Clara walked in, heart hammering, the air thick with curiosity and tension. Each face she recognized told her a familiar story, yet today they looked different, prying and expectant. What would she say? Clara swallowed hard, hoping her voice wouldn't give out on her. As she stood at the back of the room, Clara could feel the weight of a dozen sets of eyes on her. Everyone had their own opinion about her windfall. A soft murmur rose from the crowd. What will she do with all that money? Is she going to leave us behind? Each whisper pierced through her like a dart. It was as if the room held its breath, waiting for a sign from her that she was still the same little girl they'd known. Clara glanced at her mother, who sat quietly, an anchor in the storm raging around them. Her mother's eyes spoke volumes, filled with love but also a flicker of worry. Would Clara remain the daughter who played in the fields and helped with chores, or would she become something more, a stranger wrapped up in gold? As the meeting commenced, the town's mayor stepped up to the podium. His face was serious, yet he wore a kind smile that sparked a stir within the crowd, maybe even a sliver of hope. Today, we gather not just to discuss wealth but to honor the values that define Maple Grove, he began, glancing toward Clara briefly. We all know Clara's father instilled kindness and hard work in this community. Whatever money may come, it does not define who she is. Clara felt a surge of warmth in that moment, a tether of familiarity that reminded her of her father. She wanted to scream out to everyone that she hadn't changed. She was still the little girl who looked for sunlight streaming through the trees, still the one who relished the scent of freshly turned soil. But a knot tightened in her stomach. Would they still believe that? As the discussions moved on, Clara realized the town wasn't just worried about losing her. They were scared of losing what she represented. They feared the corruption that could stem from newfound wealth. Clara needed to choose between a future outlined by others or one of her own making. A wave of determination washed over her, propelled by memories of her father's voice. "Your worth is in your heart, not your wallet," he used to say. Clara's heart began to beat with purpose. She needed to speak. Gathering all her courage, she took a step forward, the murmurs quieting as she approached the podium. Hi everyone," she said, her voice trembling at first but strengthening with each word. "I know things have changed since my father passed away and I'm scared too," she admitted, lowering her gaze. "But I don't want this money to change who we are. My father believed in community, not riches. I want to honor him by helping Maple Grove, not running away from it." The room remained silent. Clara felt her heartbeat in her ears, the tremor of vulnerability mixing with hope. Would they understand? Would they see that her intention was pure? But before anyone could respond, the door creaked open, and a figure stepped in. Clara's breath caught in her chest. It was a man she had never seen before, yet the air shifted around him, and curious glances shot his way. What was he doing here, and how did he fit into this puzzle? Unbeknownst to Clara, his presence would ignite an unexpected turn in her already tumultuous life, pushing her toward answers she never knew she sought. Would he unravel another layer of her father's legacy, or would he lead Clara further down a path of uncertainty? She took a deep breath, her heart racing once again, realizing this meeting was far from over. Clara blinked, momentarily distracted by the newcomer. The man had an aura of confidence about him, a sharp contrast to the tension in the room. His eyes swept over the crowd before landing on Clara. In those few seconds, she felt an unspoken connection, a thread tugging at her heart. The mayor noticed the shift. Good to see you, Mr. Hayes. Please come up and join us," he called, motioning for the man to approach the podium. The murmurs in the crowd intensified. A stranger was taking the spotlight right when Clara was trying to claim her OWN.Mr. Hayes looked around, a slight smile playing on his lips. "Thank you, Mayor." He stepped forward, his voice rich and smooth. "I know I am a surprise, but I've come to talk about Clara's father. I believe he had plans for this community that are yet to be realized." Clara's heart raced. Plans? What plans? She had no idea what he was talking about. Behind her, her mother leaned forward, a hint of anxiety in her posture. Mr. Hayes continued, "Patrick Donovan was more than just a pillar of this town. He envisioned a Maple Grove where every child had the chance to thrive, no matter their background. He believed in investing in dreams." Clara's memories surged. Her father had always been so passionate about helping others, about giving back. But he never really spoke of specific plans, at least not to her. Could this man hold the key to understanding her father's intentions? "I believe Clara has something greater than wealth," he said, turning his attention toward her. "She has the ability to carry on her father's legacy, to bring about change. But she will need the support of all of you." As he spoke, Clara could see a spark ignite in the eyes of her neighbors. Hope? Excitement? She could hardly fathom the thoughts racing through their minds. Would they rally behind her? Or would fear still grip them? What kind of change? Someone shouted from the back of the room. Fear and skepticism dripped from the question, and Clara felt her pulse quicken again. How could she reassure them? Mr. Hayes smiled, undeterred. We should think about community projects, sustainable farms, better schools. Clara has the resources to reshape our town if we work together. The crowd buzzed with mixed emotions. Some were intrigued, while others remained hesitant. Clara squeezed her hands together. This was a pivotal moment. She had a chance to unite them, to build on her father's dreams. But how? Taking a deep breath, Clara stepped up to the microphone, her voice steadying. I may have money now, but it's my father's values that matter most, she declared. I want to hear your ideas. Let us brainstorm how we can make Maple Grove a place of hope and growth. The room fell silent, and Clara could feel the weight of their anticipation. She caught her mother's eye, a flicker of pride emanating from her. Maybe, just maybe, this was how Clara could prove she hadn't changed. But as the murmurs began again, a knot of uncertainty tightened in her stomach. Mr. Hayes looked pleased, but did he have his own agenda? Could she trust him? Her thoughts whirled in the midst of their excitement. The encounter felt monumental, yet somehow ominous. Just then, she noticed his gaze shifting toward the back of the room, where a sharp-eyed woman stood, watching with an intensity that sent a shiver down Clara's spine. What was it that the woman knew? Why did it seem like she was waiting for something perhaps like the rest of them? Clara couldn't shake her unsettling feeling. As the crowd began discussing potential projects, unreachable dreams intertwined with mistrust swirled around her, leaving Clara wondering if this moment would usher in a new beginning or unravel secrets best left buried. And at that moment she knew she couldn't just stand by. She had to seek the truth, wherever it led. Would Clara find the strength to navigate the web of her father's legacy before it consumed her? Clara's heart thudded in her chest as the crowd stirred around her, a jumble of voices rising and falling like waves crashing against the shore. Ideas were thrown out, some wild and others more grounded. A sustainable farm? A community center? A scholarship fund? Each suggestion seemed to ripple through the air, tugging at something deep inside her. But despite the excited chatter, that woman at the back of the room still held her attention. Clara could feel her eyes boring into her, piercing through the hopeful atmosphere. Who was she? Was she a friend or a foe? As her neighbors animatedly discussed their dreams for a better Maple Grove, Clara felt a tug of unease. She turned to face Mr. Hayes again, searching for reassurance. His gaze was steady, but there was an enigmatic glint in his eyes that unsettled her. Was he as genuine as he appeared, or was there a hidden agenda? Clara, a voice called out, drawing her focus back to the crowd. It was Mrs. Henderson, a long-time resident known for her practical wisdom. You talk about the community, but what about the businesses? Your father supported every local shop. How can we make sure that the talents in Maple Grove are recognized? Clara smiled at Mrs. Henderson, appreciating her pragmatic approach. That's a great point. Supporting small businesses and local artisans is crucial. I'd love to hear more about how we can help them thrive. As the crowd nodded and murmured in agreement, Clara felt a flicker of hope ignite within her. Maybe, just maybe, she wasn't alone in this. The weight of her father's legacy pressed heavily on her shoulders, but perhaps the community could help carry it with her. Unbeknownst to her, Mr. Hayes watched the exchange with interest. His expression hinted at something deeper, as if he saw potential in Clara that she hadn't yet realized herself. Before she could continue, Clara's attention broke away once again to the back of the room. The woman was gone. She hadn't slipped out quietly, but rather blended into the crowd, leaving Clara feeling a pang of loss. What did she want? Clara shuddered, convinced that whatever knowledge the woman possessed, it was important and possibly dangerous. Clara? Mr. Hayes' voice cut through her thoughts gently. Let us draw a focus back to the beginning. Your father dreamed of a vision. Maybe we should think about a town hall meeting, where ideas can flourish. Gather everyone together? The more he spoke, the the more Clara sensed both an opportunity and the stakes involved. Yes, she affirmed with vehemence. Let us do it. A town hall. We can invite everyone. As the crowd began murmuring animatedly about planning the meeting, Clara's courage grew. She could feel the spirit of her father coaxing her forward, urging her not to shy away from the challenge. In this moment, she realized it wasn't just about her past, it was about forging a future. Clara? Someone called out again. This time it was Tom, the local mechanic. What do we do if the changes you're proposing don't work? Are we prepared for failure? We can't just throw money at it. The doubt echoed like a cold wind, chilling Clara to her core. Failure is part of growth, she admitted, her voice shaking yet resolute. We'll learn from every step, and I promise to be with you every step of the way. As she spoke, uncertainty still nagged at her. Would they really trust her? Just then, a strong tremor rumbled through the room, an unexpected disturbance that sent ripples of confusion across the audience. Clara's stomach dropped. A quick glance around the room revealed uncertainty etched on everyone's faces, eyes darting, whispers growing frantic. Then, just as suddenly as it began, the disturbance ceased, and an unnatural hush fell over the crowd. For a brief moment, every pair of eyes fixed on the back of the room. And there she was again, the sharp-eyed woman, now standing in the doorway, arms crossed, with a knowing smirk curling her lips. What secrets did she hold? Clara's heart raced anew, and she knew this was only the beginning of a much bigger puzzle. The stakes were rising, and she had to unravel the truth, before it was too late. Could Clara face the storm brewing within her father's legacy while confronting the shadowy danger lurking just beyond her grasp? The tension in the room burst like a dam, waves of murmurs washing over Clara as the crowd turned to regard the woman standing ominously in the doorway. Clara's pulse quickened, her resolve trembling like a leaf in the wind. What did this stranger know? What did her presence mean for the fragile momentum Clara had begun to build? Who is she? Someone whispered, and the question echoed like a drumbeat through the gathering. Clara forced her gaze to remain steady on the woman, but her mind raced. Was this a threat? A sign that something darker was hovering in the shadows of Maple Grove? The woman's smirk deepened as she leaned against the doorframe, assessing the crowd with a confidence that made Clara's skin crawl. Let us not get distracted, Mr. Hayes' voice emerged, firm yet soothing. Clara was speaking about a town hall meeting. Distraction? Clara felt the words weigh down her spirit, but Mr. Hayes was right. The future of Maple Grove was at stake. Gathering her thoughts, she turned back to the crowd, drawing in a deep breath. Yes, a town hall meeting, she declared, her voice clearer now, laced with intent. It's about all of us, together. We can share our ideas, but we should also address any concerns. No question is too small when it comes to our town. The crowd was slowly coming back to her, nodding thoughtfully as Clara felt a thread of hope weaving through her words. Yet, the woman didn't budge, her eyes locked onto Clara's as if she were a puzzle waiting to be solved. What are you hiding? Clara thought, her own fears reflected in the woman's gaze. The uncertainty in that smirk, however, tugged at Clara's heart. Was it mocking or merely playful? After a few moments of silence, Mrs. Henderson spoke up again. Clara's right. We all need to participate and bring our vision forward. The last thing we want is divisiveness in our community. A ripple of agreement followed, warming Clara's heart. But where was the woman going with this? She felt compelled to confront what was smoldering in the corners of this gathering. Excuse me, Clara said, stepping forward, her voice firm. You in the back. If you have something to say, then please join us. We can't move forward unless everyone is on board. The room fell silent, and all eyes shifted. A flicker of surprise crossed the woman's face, but she didn't move closer. Instead, she wiped the smile from her lips, an unsettling seriousness settling in its place. Ah, Clara, how brave, she said, her voice smooth like butter, yet laced with a chilling undertone. But trust is a fragile thing, isn't it? Especially when secrets linger beneath the surface. Clara swallowed hard. Did this woman know about her father? Was she a part of whatever turmoil had settled over the town after his passing? Panic gripped her, but she pressed on. Secrets can be harmful or helpful, Clara countered, her voice steady as an oak tree. This town deserves transparency, not fear. The crowd seemed to hold its breath, caught between suspicion and curiosity. Clara couldn't tell if they were drawn to her or to the enigmatic woman challenging her. Then you'll want to hear what I have to say, the woman replied calmly, finally pushing away from the door. Her eyes darted around the room, collecting each wary glance, before landing again on Clara. But maybe the town isn't ready. Clara's heart sank, dread pooling in her stomach. What did she mean by that? A standoff lingered in the air as the crowd shifted uneasily, a tangible tension snapping at the seams. Then, the woman smiled again, this time colder, sharper, and turned to leave. I'll be back. And the truth has a way of coming out. With that, she slipped into the night, leaving Clara standing at the center of her community, feeling both empowered and haunted. Was she ready for the truth behind her father's legacy? And what threads had just been pulled to unravel the very fabric of Maple Grove? Clara needed to find out before the next wave crashed down. But would she be strong enough to face it? The chatter in the room began to swell again as Clara stood wide-eyed, the doors swinging shut behind the mysterious woman. It felt as if time had paused, the unease settling around her like a fog. Everyone was still looking at her, waiting for the next cue, the next word that would either rally them or send them spiraling back into uncertainty. Clara? Mrs. Henderson's voice broke the heavy silence. What do we do now? Clara's heart raced. This was it, the moment to shine or shatter. She needed to harness this energy, to channel it into something powerful. We meet, she said, urgency lacing her voice. The town hall meeting is essential now more than ever. We need to stand united. A quiet murmur floated through the crowd, then gradually grew louder. They weren't just hanging on to her words. They were starting to believe in them. Clara felt a flicker of firm hope igniting in her chest. Let us make it tomorrow, a voice called from the back, and others quickly joined in with enthusiastic agreement. For the first time, Clara felt a smile break across her face, a wave of optimism washing over her. But beneath that thrill resided a gnawing worry. What did the woman know? Why had she come? She couldn't shake the feeling that the woman's presence was just the beginning of something bigger, something that could threaten the very fabric of the community she loved. As the meeting concluded, Clara stepped outside into the cool air. The stars glittered above, a serene contrast to the storm brewing in her mind. She couldn't go home yet. Not now. She needed clarity. Perhaps there was someone in town who could provide answers. Walking briskly, Clara headed down to the diner. It was a place she'd grown up in, where anyone could find warmth and familiarity. She pushed open the door, the bell jingling softly. The air was filled with the scent of frying bacon and freshly brewed coffee. Clara? Sally, the waitress, beamed at her from behind the counter. Late-night coffee run? More like a desperate search for answers, Clara replied, forcing a smile. Have you seen Mr. Porter? Oh, yes, not in tonight, Sally said, her brow furrowing. He was out at the old barn, I think. You could try walking over there. Clara's stomach churned at the thought of the old barn. After her father's passing, it became a monument of pain. But that was where secrets slept, and she needed to uncover them. She thanked Sally and slipped out the door, the night air biting her skin. As she made her way to the barn, each step felt heavier than the last. Her mind reeled with questions. What if the woman knew something about her father that hadn't been revealed? What if the truth was more painful than she had imagined? Upon reaching the barn, its silhouette loomed dark against the moonlight. Clara hesitated, feeling the gravel crunch beneath her shoes. She could turn back, head home, and pretend everything was okay. But the nagging desire for the truth clawed at her heart. She pushed the creaky door wide, and the familiar scent of hay mixed with aged wood swept over her. Mr. Porter? She called, trying to infuse her voice with courage. Silence echoed back. She took a few cautious steps inside, the darkness surrounding her thickening. And that's when she saw it, a faint glow emanating from the corner. Her heart raced as she moved closer, her breath hitching in her throat. What was hidden in the shadows? What secrets awaited her, waiting to be unveiled? Clara's determination shone in her eyes as she reached the source of the light, her heart hammering, knowing she may just be one step away from discovering the unraveling truth behind Maple Grove, the woman in the doorway, and her father's lasting legacy. The glow flickered as Clara stepped deeper into the barn. It illuminated an old trunk, dusty and weathered. With shaking hands, she brushed the cobwebs aside, her heart pounding in anticipation. This might hold answers, or perhaps even remnants of her father's life that he had never shared with her. Please, she whispered to the shadows, her voice barely above a breath. Let this be worth it. Clara knelt down and tugged at the trunk's brass latch. It creaked open, revealing a collection of faded photographs and an assortment of papers tied together with a fraying ribbon. She sifted carefully through the contents, each item a fragment of a past she longed to understand. The first photograph caught her breath, a picture of her father, young and laughing, with a woman Clara didn't recognize. She felt a knot tighten in her chest. Who was she? Clara flipped the photograph over, but there was no name, just the date 1982. Her fingers trembled as she lifted the next item, a letter. The paper was fragile, having yellowed with age. The writing was familiar, elegant and flowing, just like her father's notes. As she read, confusion swirled within her. Dear Sarah, I know the choice I made will take us down separate paths. But I want you to know you'll always be in my heart. Clara's mind raced. Who was Sarah? Was she someone from her father's past? A love lost, or a part of him he chose to keep hidden? Holding the letter tightly, Clara recalled Mrs. Henderson mentioning someone named Sarah just days before. Was it a coincidence? Or was there a deeper connection that had gone unnoticed? The air thickened around her as her curiosity transformed into determination. This had to lead her somewhere. As she continued to sift through the contents, a small envelope slipped out, somehow different from the rest. Clara carefully pried it open, her heart drumming with anticipation. Inside, she found a birth certificate. Her eyes widened in shock. It was hers, but the name printed on the document took her breath away. Sarah Porter. Tears pooled in Clara's eyes. She felt a mix of sorrow and anger. Had her father known about this, kept it hidden all along? Did Sarah know anything about the legacy he left behind? Suddenly, a faint sound broke through her thoughts. The rustling of footsteps echoed outside the barn, sending a jolt of panic through Clara. She quickly tucked the items back into the trunk and closed it, an urge to protect her newfound discoveries swelling inside her. Clara? A voice called out, and she recognized it immediately. It was Mr. Porter. Taking a deep breath, Clara stepped out of the shadows. Mr. Porter, his eyes widened with surprise and concern. What are you doing here so late? I came looking for you, she said, her voice steadying. I found something. As she explained what she had uncovered, Mr. Porter's expression shifted, revealing a mix of worry and regret. Clara noticed the weariness etched into his face, a lifelong burden hanging over him. Clara, there's something you need to understand, he began, his voice steady but laced with emotion. But before he could continue, the barn doors creaked as they swung wide open. The last thing Clara saw was a figure silhouetted against the bright moonlight, the mysterious woman from the town hall. Clara, the woman said, her voice penetrating the night air. We need to talk. Clara's heart raced. What more did this woman know? And could she handle the truth that was about to unfold? The woman stepped closer, the moonlight outlining her features. Clara could see now that her eyes held a fierce determination. Clara's pulse raced, but she couldn't allow fear to silence her. She needed answers. What do you know about Sarah? Clara's voice was steadier than she felt. The woman hesitated, her gaze darting to Mr. Porter, who stood stiffly beside Clara, a storm of emotions brewing behind his eyes. You're Clara, right? She asked, as if assessing the gravity of the moment. Clara nodded, her heart fluttering in her chest. I'm Veronica, the woman said finally. I was friends with your father many years ago. I didn't expect to see you here, interrupting a meeting that has lingered for too long. The tension in the air thickened. Mr. Porter shifted, his brow furrowing. Veronica, we need to talk about this carefully, he said, a warning coating his tone. Carefully? Veronica scoffed, her voice rising. Too much time has been wasted already. Clara deserves to know the truth. What truth? Clara interjected, a mixture of anger and curiosity boiling beneath the surface. The photos, the letter, and now this woman, they were all pieces of a puzzle she wasn't even sure she wanted to see completed. What happened to my father? Who was he really? Veronica stepped closer, lowering her voice. Your father loved a woman named Sarah. They had a deep bond, but life interfered in ways neither of them anticipated. Clara's heart clenched. But then why do I have this? She held up the birth certificate, the weight of it heavy in the air between them. Mr. Porter's expression darkened, an emotion Clara couldn't quite place flickering across his face. Clara, I tried to protect you from this, he said softly, regret etched in every line of his face. Protect me from what? From knowing who my real family is? Clara's voice trembled. This was too much. The weight of her father's hidden past pressed down on her like a lead blanket. Veronica remained resolute. Your father made choices he thought were best, choices he believed would keep you safe, Clara. But now you have the right to know everything, to understand the life he lived beyond what you were shown. Mr. Porter's gaze softened, and Clara felt an unexpected rush of empathy for him. Clara, I respected your father's wishes. I thought it was my place to keep you away from this turmoil. Turmoil? Clara echoed, fear creeping back in. Yes, Mr. Porter sighed, looking at both women as if weighing his next words with great care. Your father's past is intertwined with dark secrets. They are not just about Sarah, they could disrupt everything you thought you knew. What do you mean? Clara asked, her voice barely above a whisper. Veronica stepped forward, urgency in her voice. Because Clara, what your father left behind is more than just sorrow. It's an inheritance intertwined with a legacy that could change everything. Clara's breath caught in her throat. The room seemed to close in around her. She had exposed only the tip of the iceberg, yet the reality of what lay ahead felt monumental. Clara, you have to be prepared, Mr. Porter warned, a serious tone underscoring his words. This journey will uncover truths that could shatter everything you know about your family. Clara met both of their gazes, her heart aching with a mix of fear and resilience. I'm ready, she declared, though uncertainty echoed in her words. I need to know. Just then, the distant sound of an engine broke the heavy silence, rumbling towards them from the road. Clara's heart leaped at the thought that whoever was arriving could bring more revelations, or threaten everything she held dear. Who's that? She asked, her voice laced with a sudden urgency. Veronica's eyes widened. It could be anyone, but this night is far from over. Clara's fate hung in the balance, and she knew one thing for sure: answers were coming, but at what cost? As the engine grew closer, she braced herself for whatever would follow. The engine's roar grew louder, drowning out Clara's conflicted thoughts. She shifted her weight anxiously, weighing the impulses in her stomach. It felt like the ground was shifting beneath her, threatening to swallow her whole when the headlights of a car sliced through the night. Stand back, Mr. Porter said, instinctively stepping in front of Clara. The protective urge was evident, but it also felt suffocating. Clara pushed past him, her curiosity overcoming her desire for safety. A car door slammed shut, and heavy footsteps echoed towards them. The figure emerging was a man, tall and broad-shouldered, his face partially hidden in shadow. But there was something familiar about him, a flash of recognition that made her heart race. Clara? He called out, his voice deep and concerned. Who are you? She snapped, feeling a rush of defiance. The night was already unsettling enough. She wasn't ready to let a stranger dictate her emotions yet again. Just a friend of your father's, he replied, raising his hands slightly in a placating gesture. My name is Luke. The name struck Clara like a bolt of lightning. Luke! Her father had spoken of him, a companion from his past. This wasn't just chance. This was part of the web of secrets that had ensnared her life. Why are you here? Clara demanded, catching sight of Mr. Porter's worried expression from the corner of her eye. I came to warn you, Luke said, his gaze darting between Veronica and Mr. Porter. Things have gotten complicated since your father's departure. Departure? Clara echoed, feeling anger rising again. It felt wrong to cloak her father's absence in vague terms like that. The truth needed to be laid bare. What do you mean? Your father was involved in matters that go deeper than you can imagine, Luke explained urgently. Sarah wasn't just a woman in his life, she was connected to something bigger, something dangerous. I thought I could keep it from you until you were ready. I'm ready now, Clara shouted, her frustration mounting. This isn't just about being ready. This is my life. Veronica stepped forward, fierce determination reflected in her eyes. Luke, we've waited too long already. Clara's not some kid who should be sheltered from the truth anymore. She deserves to know where she came from. Maybe knowing will only put her in more danger. Luke shot back, fists clenching at his sides. Clara stood between them, feeling like a battleground. You're both talking about my life like it's a game. If there's something I need to know, I want to hear it. The air crackled with tension. Moments hung between them like thick fog, with Clara caught in the center, the weight of unspoken revelations pressing down heavily. I have a box of documents, Luke said suddenly, a look of remorse crossing his face. It's not just the truths about your father. It holds remnants of his life with Sarah and what happened after. Where is it? Clara asked, her heart pounding in her chest. It felt like a key had turned in a lock, and the door to her past was slowly creaking open. In the trunk of my car, Luke replied. But we have to get out of here first. There are people who don't want you to learn this. Clara, listen, Mr. Porter began, but she cut him off. I have to know, she shouted, desperation seeping into her voice. Veronica nodded, her expression resolute. And you will, Clara. But we need to move quickly. With a mix of fear and determination, Clara turned toward the car. It was time to confront the shadows of the past, but the weight of uncertainty loomed, threatening to crush her. Wait. Clara hesitated, looking back at both adults. What if we uncover something terrible? What if the truth hurts more than the lies? Silence enveloped them, thick with dread. Clara's heart raced. She was stepping into the unknown, but the only way out was through. As they started towards the car, the sound of another engine approached from the distance, faster this time. Clara stopped in her tracks, her heart pounding. Who was coming now? Clara, we've got to move, Luke said, urgency heavy in his tone. She glanced back, fear gnawing at her gut. Answers lay ahead, but danger lurked close behind. What awaited her in the shadows of her father's past? Clara felt a flood of resolve surge within her. She wouldn't turn back now. The headlights pierced the darkness like a warning shot, illuminating the faces of her companions. Clara's heart raced, caught between the threat of the unknown and the promise of revelations. She glanced at Luke, whose expression was focused, but she could see the tension in his clenched jaw. Mr. Porter's brow was furrowed, and Veronica stood tall, embodying the determination Clara wished mirrored her own. Let us move, Clara shouted, her voice breaking through the sudden silence. With Luke leading the way, they sprinted toward the car parked a short distance away. The engine noise grew louder, thundering against the still night air, and Clara's determination surged as adrenaline coursed through her veins. She needed the truth, something to lift the fog that swirled relentlessly around her, concealing the legacy and love of her father. As they reached the car, Luke fumbled with the trunk, and Clara felt an urgency vibrating through her bones. The headlights from the pursuing vehicle flashed across the landscape, bouncing off the barn in a rhythmic signal. Quick! Clara urged, her pulse pounding. What's in the documents? Clara, you need to understand, Luke replied as he wrenched open the trunk, revealing a blood-stained leather box lined with faded papers and photographs. Your father was involved in something that could threaten not just you but the entire town if the truth comes to light. Stop talking in riddles. Clara couldn't mask her frustration. I deserve to know. Luke opened the box and pulled out a thin folder, his hands shaking slightly. This contains everything we have: documents, connections, truths about your father's past and his relationship with Sarah. But we have to act fast. Mr. Porter rushed toward the driver's seat, glancing back toward the approaching headlights. We may not have much time. We can talk once we're safe. Safe? Clara echoed, searching Luke's eyes. Safe from what? When the truth is exposed, it brings shadows, Luke warned, carefully handling the documents. Some are unwilling to let the past emerge. Your father's decisions created enemies. Just as Luke spoke, the other car screeched to a halt, and a figure stepped out, a familiar silhouette that sent chills racing down Clara's spine. It was the mysterious woman, her sharp gaze fixed on Clara, a knowing smirk painted on her lips, as if she reveled in the unfolding chaos. Clara, the woman called, her voice smooth yet threatening. You shouldn't venture down this path. Stay away from us. Mr. Porter barked, his protection instinct roaring. Clara felt the wave of tension swirling around her like a tightened noose. Let her choose. The woman's tone shifted, adopting an almost hypnotic quality. Let Clara decide what this journey costs. In that moment, Clara's heart pounded with fierce clarity. It was her life, her choices, and she wouldn't be a pawn in someone else's game. You don't know me, she shouted, taking a step back, grounding herself with the energy from her father's love that pulsed within her. I won't be afraid. With a flick of her wrist, the woman shifted into an imposing presence, edging closer. You need to understand that knowing the truth can shatter everything. Do you truly want to see it? A wash of fear crept into Clara's heart, but just as quickly, a wave of her father's teachings resonated within her. I have to know who I am. What my father really stood for. I won't let you intimidate me. Luke exchanged glances with Mr. Porter, who seemed poised for action, yet Clara was ready to rip away the veil of secrecy surrounding her father's past. Enough games, she declared, her voice steady now. I'm ready for your truth, whatever it may be. As the tension crackled like a live wire, the woman laughed softly, almost mockingly, before flipping her hair over her shoulder. You're braver than I thought, Clara, but bravery can blind you. Be cautious. With that, she took a step back, the shadows swallowing her as smoothly as a gulp of lightning. An otherworldly chill crept into Clara's bones, yet she held her ground. You can't scare me away, she whispered. To the night. Time's up. Mr. Porter urged, opening the car door and gesturing frantic urgency. Clara, we need to go. Clara pivoted one last time, looking into the darkness, half expecting the woman to return, but there was only silence enveloping the barn once more. Let us get out of here, Luke exclaimed, sliding into the passenger seat. Clara joined Mr. Porter in the front, the weight of the documents thickening the air between them. As they sped away, Clara felt the weight of her father's legacy shift, a blend of uncertainty and hope propelling her forward. The road ahead was uncharted, but clarity and wisdom lay hidden in those documents. Whatever the truth is, we'll face it together, she affirmed, her voice steady. All of us, Mr. Porter agreed, glancing over, pride evident in his eyes. Clara took a deep breath, determination coursing through her veins. Unfolding the fabric of her father's life was no longer just about answering questions, it was about holding on to the resilience that made her who she was. It was a journey worth taking, no matter the cost. As they drove into the night, Clara's heart felt full, the promise of a brighter future lighting the way. And she was ready to embrace whatever was waiting just beyond the horizon. Now it was time to uncover the layers of love and loss, legacy and truth. In facing the unknown, Clara understood one thing: her father's spirit would guide her through, no matter the storm. Finally, she was ready to take the first step on the path toward her new life. And oh, what a journey awaited! If you enjoyed this story and want to follow Clara on her next adventures, you need to subscribe now. Don't wait not even one more second to hit that button. Hit like to feed the algorithm because it truly makes a difference. Leave your thoughts in the comments too. We want to know how you felt about Clara's journey. And don't forget to share this video with at least 5 friends who need to see this transformation unfold. This is the moment to show your support.